And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so our third topic we are going to be talking about here is going to be about the San Francisco Giants and the news coming out about their trade deadline plans. So let's get into it. Now, the Giants for the past few weeks or so have been a team that I've really been watching closely and trying to evaluate to see what direction they are going to go at this trade deadline. I wasn't sure if they're going to be buyers, they're going to be sellers, they're going to be retooling, kind of going in the middle, buying and selling. But I do think we have the definitive answer now after last night. An article came out with Andrew Baggerty and Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. Rosenthal, of course, the senior insider, the guy who lets all the trades go, and Baggerty, who is a top Giants insider, that the Giants most likely are going to be selling at the deadline, and that is big news and something that really, I think, affects a lot of what is going on here. Also in the article, they talk about specific players, including the guy on the screen you see right there, so we'll be talking about him as well. But there are a lot of factors contributing to why the Giants are going to end up being sellers, and they talk about that in the article. The first one is the luxury tax. The Giants have a lot of players on payroll, a lot of expensive players on payroll, and because of that, because of their underperformance as well, they decided that, it is just not worth it to carry all these players, and they really need to get these contracts off the books. And I think that's really one of the big reasons why they are trying to sell at this deadline and get rid of some players. Also, they've just been mediocre. I think that's really it. I've talked before of how I like this Giants team a lot. I like the reinforcements they're getting in the second half. But I did say that overall, I think it's a little too late. And I think that right now, the Giants agree with that sentiment. They look at where they are in the standings. They look at the teams above them. They look at what their roster looks like right now, and they're probably thinking to themselves, you know what, we really like who we're getting back. We really like this roster we have, but it's just not going to be good enough. It's just a little too late, and that's kind of it. I mean, you're looking at it right now. They are fourth in the NL West. The Diamondbacks are 8.5 back of the Dodgers. The Giants are 13. That's a significant amount of games. I mean, they're 6 games under 500 as well. I think they're kind of facing reality and saying, you know what, as much as we like the roster reconstructed, as much as we like the guys we're getting back soon, including Robbie Ray, who just pitched yesterday, Alex Cobb, who's coming back soon, it's just not it, and it's time to sell. And unfortunately, because I like this Giants team, I think that's the right decision. I think the Giants are going to take advantage of this seller's market where basically every single team, except like 5, are going to be buying, and they're taking advantage of that, saying, you know what, we have a lot of good players on this team. We like them, but we don't know if they're immediately part of our long-term future. So because of that, we're going to take advantage of that, and we're going to sell. And in the article, it specifically mentioned that Blake Snell has drawn a ton of interest from a lot of teams, which I find fascinating. I think the Giants really have the chance to just really turn this trade deadline on the top of its head and just really make it much more interesting than I thought it could be. The Giants have a ton of players that could be available for trade that I think would really, really make this deadline interesting. And Blake Snell, to me, is one of them. I think Snell, would really become the biggest trade chip on this entire market, and I think every single contending team would want to get him. It's true that he's not having his best season with San Francisco. That is very true. But at the same time, Snell has done much better as of recently. He won the Cy Young literally just last year. So there's still a lot of pedigree with Snell, and I think a lot of teams that wanted him in the offseason could be knocking on this door saying, you know what, we're not going to get a second chance again to get one of our guys like this. And I think that Snell, honestly, is likely to be traded, and I don't think that was something we were really expecting just a few days ago. So overall, I think that Snell is someone that could go, or is likely to go, and after that, you have to look at other guys who are on 1 to 2 year deals for this Giants team. Matt Chapman, is he likely to go? I'm not sure. I think a lot of teams would love to have him. I mean, one of the best third basemen in all of baseball. Are the Giants going to go farther and trade Camilo Duvall? That's something else that's interesting. I think Mike Conforto is going to be gone. I think Wilmer Flores is going to be gone. I think Mike Yastrzemski is going to be gone. I think Lamont Wade could potentially be gone. I think Alex Cobb is going to be gone. I think they'll listen to offers on Robbie Ray. So there's a lot of interesting things now about this Giants team, what they could end up doing at the deadline, and I think that overall they really have a chance to just make this deadline a lot more interesting than we expected, and it is going to be really interesting to see how far they go, because I think it's clear at this point that the Giants are going to be sellers. They are going to trade a lot of their players, but how far are they going to go? With Blake Snell, he is on really a one-year deal. Yes, he has a player option for next year, but I don't really think he's going to exercise that if he continues to do as well as he has recently, because he's going to get a big contract if that stays the way it is. So because of that, I think he's going to be traded. Matt Chapman, on kind of a 3-year kind of weird deal like Blake Snell, but I think he has a higher chance of re-signing in the Bay than Blake Snell because of his history there, because the fact that he seems to like it there is from that area as well. So are they going to trade him? Mike Yastrzemski, a guy who's become really a face of that franchise. Are they going to trade him? Are they going to trade Duvall, one of the best closers in all of baseball, who's under contract for a few more years? It really is interesting to see how far they go. I think the main guys that are going to be traded are Taylor Rogers. I think they want to get that contract off the books, and I think a lot of teams would really like to take in a very good lefty reliever that can, pitch really well in the 7th or 8th inning. I think Mike Conforto they would like to get him off the books as well, mainly because of his contract. He's a very okay player, but for his contract, I don't think it's really worth it. So I think those two guys are definitely gone. I think Wilmer Flores could be gone. Not exactly sure what his value is, but I think also something that's interesting with Blake Snell, and I saw Jim Bowden bring this up on Twitter, that is, you have Garrett Crochet now probably not being traded because of, the big thing he threw out, which is that he's not pitching without a contract extension in October. You have Tarek Skubal, who the Tigers were probably never going to trade. And because of that, the Giants are seeing, these two guys who are top of the market aces, who are also happen to be left-handed pitchers, which I'm sure factors in, they're probably not likely to be traded. The Giants probably saw that and said, as much as we love Snell, as much as we maybe want to go for this, we might have to take advantage of this market. And I think a lot of teams who would like to get Snell, who would like to get a Crochet, who would like to get a Skubal, are now seeing that, Snell is available and like, okay, this is the guy we have to pivot to. So I think because of that, because of the decisions that have been made by other teams about their players, I think that they realize, this is a seller's market. There's really right now only 5 or 6 teams that we know are going to be selling, and we have a lot more ammunition to sell than these other teams do. Let's take advantage of that. Let's finally try to get out of mediocrity that we've been in the past few years or so, and take advantage of this market and sell off these guys. I mean, you can get a lot for Blake Snell. You can get a lot for Matt Chapman. You can get some contracts off the books and help your future situation, getting off Conforto and Rogers contracts. So I think that overall, this is going to be very interesting to watch in the next upcoming days, seeing what the Giants do at this deadline, seeing how far they go with this sell-off, and yeah, I'm really, really interested to watch what happens. If I'm going to be honest, I think that Snell gets traded. There's a team I have in mind specifically for him, which I'll go over on Monday. Hopefully he's not traded over the deadline, because that would suck, because I really want to go over everything. So selfishly, I'm hoping that there's not many trades over the deadline, so I can go over. I don't have to trade anything. I don't have to change anything about my trade list on Monday. So yeah, I think now the big question we have to ask ourselves about this Giants team is, what does their future look like? Selling off these players that we assume they will, are they going to be rebuilding fully next year? Are they going to be trying to replace some guys through signings, young players coming up? Are they going to trade for MLB-ready prospects? Are they going to be, again, fully rebuilding? What is going to be going on here? I think that that's a really interesting situation we have to ask ourselves, and I'm not sure. I think I really have to look at what they do at this deadline, see how many players they trade, and overall what is going to happen with them, and just what decisions do end up being made by the Giants front office, by the Giants team, and it's going to be very, very interesting to watch over the next upcoming days what decisions the Giants do end up making overall. I think there's a lot of interesting things that are going to have to decide, and I am very fascinated because, again, I think they have the chance to really change this deadline completely, change the outlook of it, and yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what this Giants team looks like. But again, I think this is the right decision for them. I think they should sell. I just think the reinforcements they're getting back are a little too late, and I don't think there's really any way to make the playoffs right now. Again, I think really with the wild card standings right now, I think that there's a few teams really locked into their positions, and Giants are 5.5 back, and they would have to pass a number of teams to get there. I think really right now for the 3 wild card spots, it's going to be these few teams: the Braves, the Mets, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Cardinals, the Pirates. I think it's those 6 teams for 3 spots. I don't really think anyone outside of those teams really has a good chance. I don't think the Reds are really going to do anything there. Cubs already said they're selling. We just talked about the Giants. So I really think it's those 6 teams in competition for those 3 wildcard spots. And it's going to be very interesting to watch, but we at least know that it's most likely coming that the Giants are going to be bowing out of this race and are going to be selling. And they have a lot of good pieces to sell, and I'm very, very interested to see what is going to happen with that. So that is it for our third segment, talking about the Giants and the potential of them selling at the trade deadline. We're moving into our fourth segment here, which is going to be talking about the Texas Rangers and the fact that it has officially come up that they are going to be buyers at this trade deadline, going over that, what it means for the entire league, and yeah, talking about it. So we'll talk about that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.